Welcome back to the podcast of the Becoming Noble Substack. Today I will be doing my first Ask Me Anything episode based on questions sent in by my wonderful premium subscribers. My call for questions got a really strong response, so I suspect this will be the first of many Ask Me Anything episodes, and perhaps I'll turn it into a monthly event if people enjoy this one. The questions I will be answering are: how do men retain dignity in woke workspaces? Another question: I have been writing out a trust that becomes irrevocable upon my death to legally cement a house or a dynasty for my sons. What things should be included in this? Would you advise public, Catholic, private, or homeschooling? What's your approach to church and encouraging faith in your children? How are you building healthy networks for your children? What advice or things can I teach my sons to help them find a good wife? Should couples do a prenuptial agreement? Do you think that landed estates are necessary to maintain a house, a family lineage, or has this been replaced by a family-owned corporation? How do I maintain a social life as I convert to Catholicism away from my Protestant social circles? Was the dissolution of marriage planned or an unhappy accident of progress? Can we pursue and advocate for localism when billions of lives depend on global supply chains? Obviously, these are all extremely interesting questions. I'll include the first few of these in the free version of this episode and paywall the rest, since this is intended as a special episode for paid subscribers. And a huge thank you to all of you who do support. There's a link in the description if you want to join their ranks. Okay, on to the questions. Question 1. How do men retain dignity in woke workspaces? And this questioner sent in some additional context. He says, I'm finding my career, which is in tech and product design, so taken over by progressive politics that many interactions eventually devolve into struggle sessions. I'm the only man on my team. All the men have disappeared, except those who have vocally joined the leftist shrieking. I expect political purity tests and job interviews for careers like mine soon, if I don't get booted out first. They're certainly willing to illegally disadvantage certain groups. It seems like one answer would be leave this career, but I bought a house, started a family working in tech. Retreating doesn't seem like the answer. How do you see a dignified way forward in these types of white-collar careers? How do we claw back higher-income professional spaces from which men can actually accumulate resources to start families and build decent lives without having to lie and to grovel and to contribute to the craziness? The first thing I would say is that you should look for opportunities to leave. This sounds like a fairly intolerable situation, and you can just do things. You can start your own business, or if you're not in a financially stable enough position and you have a family to provide for, you can apply to a wide range of companies. Many companies in big tech at the moment are in the process of stepping back from progressive signaling. Meta, formerly Facebook, is an example, which is rewriting their office and content policies to reflect the new administration. So you basically don't have to live like this, and the world is a big place, and I'd encourage you to think very big about your options, and I would pursue radical change if you can. However, if there is a compelling reason to stay for the time being, you want to be as psychologically uncommitted to this poisonous environment as possible. So work from home a few days a week if you can. When you're there, avoid every possible distraction you can. If you see someone posting something ridiculous in the company chat, don't get caught up in it. Focus on getting your work done as efficiently as possible. Make sure you're carving out a significant portion of your week to spend with other men. Join a boxing gym or similar. Working exclusively around paranoid women will challenge your manhood. Your testosterone will go down. So make sure you're reinforcing it in other ways. Eat healthy, get enough sleep, work out, get sunlight, walk with your chest out and your chin up, call your dad, and read good books. But seriously, you should start planning to exit that company. It sounds like there will be blockers to you moving up the ladder. To really get the most out of your career, you need to unashamedly pursue it wholeheartedly, and I don't think you'll be able to do that here without compromising your soul. And so psychologically stepping back from the company, which I advise if you're going to stay there, will compromise your ability to ascend. So I would say look elsewhere if you can, and good luck. Next question. I've been writing out a trust that becomes irrevocable upon my death to legally cement a house or a dynasty for my sons. What things should be included in this? And some additional color to this question that the asker included. Or is there a better way to legally found a house or dynasty? Currently, I have requirements in there requiring descendants to be born in wedlock and keep the surname, and I'm examining how to enforce or encourage church attendance. So my answer here, obviously it goes without saying, this is not legal advice, I'm not a lawyer, and I will say also I have not yet undergone this process myself, but I have begun looking into it. So the thing that's missing for me from this question is, I think your first step should be defining a purpose. That should be clear in the trust, and you should be able to say and articulate what your family's mission is. Because founding a great house is important for you as an individual, but the trust is fundamentally about your progeny, about your descendants, and they will require a mission statement that justifies the sacrifices they make for loyalty to the trust in ways above just money. Otherwise, this will become morally compromised quite quickly. So, what is your family's mission? Open the trust document with this, and then select conditions for the trust based on this mission. Place assets in the trust which align with this mission, so this is something you should think about doing before your death. Typically, I recommend property as opposed to liquid capital for reasons I expound on in my piece, Raising Children Worthy of Empires. Consider distribution conditions like a grant that unlocks upon marriage and another with each legitimate child. Other conditions you may be able to come up with that concern the mission statement that you've outlined at the beginning of the piece. Rather than enforce religious attendance, my instinct, since that might undermine its sincerity, I would suggest some kind of annual act of service or sacrifice, like a pilgrimage or annual event, to help people in your community, something like that. Some kind of ritual you pass down from generation to generation, in addition to the hard property that reinforces the centrality of that mission, rather than skipping over the question of ritual and identity and going straight to a forcing function, which might become subverted. So I hope that helps. Next question, and from here on out it is exclusive for paid subscribers. Thank you to all of you. That concludes the free section of this recording. Thank you for listening. If you want to join hundreds of paid subscribers and get the full experience with many more questions, which comes with hundreds of my best essays and recordings, please go to becomingnoble.substack.com or follow the link in the description below. It's the cost of a coffee a month and cheaper if you subscribe annually. It makes a massive difference to my ability to continue this project, and all revenue goes towards supporting my family. So thank you in advance to anyone that signs up. Really looking forward to seeing you in the chat, and I hope you enjoy. That's becomingnoble.substack.com.